Good evening, folks, and welcome to Los Angeles for what is said to be the greatest Flesh and Blood Pro Tour yet. But for the work that he did on this particular product, I'm skirting like community.
There we go. Almost got this time. Right. Where to start? That's the big question. So, chill one today. We might end up playing some games with Melody. Maybe not. Depends how long we end up talking for. But yeah, rather than just do a video, I thought we'd just do random thoughts here on a stream. So, again, where to start? We got the heroes. We got Living Legend to discuss as well. We have the FAQ material, right? There might be something juicy that's missed there. And then we have the normal pages. And of course, what is G? But I think we'll start off with the Living Legend stuff, right? So this is only a 3-hero set, right? I know I'm not meant to start with a negative, but oh well, it's generally what I do. So it being a 3-hero set, right before tournaments, is a worry to me, right? Because it's fun in a vacuum by some sense, right? So you have national championships, right? I believe it is the start of June. I may be wrong, and hopefully I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the start of June. Do release dates, world premiere, yeah, May. Yeah, so we have the calling, this, and all the Playday events into nationals, right? So if any of them perform well, they'll obviously be run at nationals, which means they already have a decent chunk of points up for grabs, right? A national championship, which one is it? Well, it'll be all of them, right? But so we have the US National Championship for 100, and then the other national champions for 40 and 20. So the worst case scenario is that these go the same way as Tails, right? And they are busted to some extent because their versatility, because their effects, however they end up utilizing Chi and however they build Chi, is going to really impact this. But if they do, again, worst case scenario, right? Once all 3 are gone, we're in another limbo set, basically, right? Tails, I hope, is on the horizon. The last set of the year could be another 3, could be a 6, right? It's hard to tell what they meant by 15, again, if they consider Blitz and Classic Constructed to be separate entities, or if they count Young and Old as the one character. So if it's one character, then we're due 6 more. If it's separate, then we've already hit the 15, right? No, we are at 13. 2 to go. No, it would be 16. See, I'm being confused just talking about it. Again, the face value way to take it is that it's characters, right? So we're at 5 and 3, so 8. Yeah, it's kind of confusing if you just join mid-sentence. Hey Fish, I am discussing the possibility of Mistveil just becoming another limbo set, similar to what will happen to Uprising and what's already happened to Tails, right? Where it's a cool mechanic, the talent and everything, but it is only 3 heroes. 3 heroes that are kind of looking decently strong, and therefore could just soak up the points. It's only 1,000 now, and then be taken out of play, and the whole set is just in limbo. Because again, we don't know when they're going to revisit anything, right? Tails has been in limbo for quite a while. Dromai and Faya are nearing their finality. So yeah, it'd be unfortunate just to have another set go to limbo. But in that comparison, right, we're looking at the timetable. So we have Mistveil comes out start of June, straight into nationals. If any of them perform well, right, then they can soak up the points at nationals. Then you have Skirmish, ProQuest, and I think Worlds was here, right? Where was it? Oh, a bit before. There we are. Right? Actually, I should be on this one. Yeah, so we have Nationals, the Pro Tour, Skirmish, ProQuest, Worlds, with the next set coming out in September. But if it's just another flavorful set, if it's another niche set like Bright Lights even, then this is probably going to soak up the points. Yeah, but that's not so bad. And to be fair, Everfest was pretty much support for everyone. I think Everfest is a pretty underrated set in terms of its versatility. But obviously we're not getting that, right? There's no supplemental sets this year. Wasn't that the go? And we somewhat think, you know, there's going to be another pool of heroes. It goes back to how you define their whole 15 shtick, right? Is it 15 new characters? Is it 15 split between Blitz and Classic Constructed, in which we've already gonna hit the ratio, right? Because there's, if you count Blitz and Classic Constructed separately, then there was 5 and then 6. So that's already past the 15. But yeah, it's a bit of a worry to me to have what looks like a strong talent in a 3-hero set come out mid-year right before all the major events, where if they perform well, they can soak up the points, and then it just becomes fun in a vacuum, right? It's its own self-enclosed set that will just fade away because, again, it doesn't have a great playability if it's no longer in Classic Constructed. That would be great, right? Because, again, we've got Uzari to tie up, we have Ira, we have so much lore and characters that this definitely feels like a pivot. I think the hope was that it would be like 3 talented and 3 generics. You know, have Uzari, have one of the ninjas, have another just primary illusionist who just has access to the solid card pool. But yeah, it could be. And then we hope that they do another Mystic set. Is that what we'd want, right? I mean, they could, depending again how they run chi cards, they could just tie it to anyone, right? And that would be, I think, the best way they run a talent at the moment, right? Where it is just this resource mechanic rather than anything really concrete. And that way they can just float it to any hero they want, whenever they want. And it is actually balanced and fits the game really nicely. But then it just also sticks out like a sore thumb, right? We have all these other talents that have this identity to themselves, and then Mystic is just an alternative resource, right? So there's lots of ways they can take it, and we're really gonna have to wait till spoiler season. But this is just speaking in a worst case scenario, is they perform really well, because again, looking at their abilities, they seem fairly decent. They soak up all the points, and Mysteria is just, when are we going to revisit it? Similar to Tales, similar to Uprising. But anyway, that's enough with the doom and gloom. Why don't we discuss the heroes, right? So we'll think about Chi a bit later. The actual mechanics, because a big thing to me is these are not 3 of a kind, right? They are on a spectrum. We have, by far, in my opinion, well, I could see Zen also being the strongest ability, but I do think News is probably one of the strongest ability, right? Followed by Zen, followed by Enigma. Enigma seems like the type of thing you want to be using every single turn you possibly can, which then goes to question, right? How will Chi be balanced? Because if it's all the same generation mechanism, right? If the set is split up, so we have Assassin, Ninja, Illusionist, and then some crossover cards, and then a whole, you know, blank Mystic section that is all about getting Chi, that could cause issues. New is definitely cool, right? This is right up my alley. It's an awesome combo effect. The question is, do they print any cards that allow you to stack your opponent's deck, right? Even just a blue poison card or something like that, which is, you know, they shuffle 1 copy into their deck, and then if it's played, it does damage to them or something like that, right? That, I think, would be interesting. But even without it, it's still, to me, it's like a floodgate, plain and simple, right? If you're in a matchup with New, you don't want blues, right? Any blues you run are just weapons for them to utilize at some point in the game. And getting any bonus at all is just strong, especially, again, if they're all the same cost. But New has that whole last sentence of, you may play it without paying the cost, right? So any blue card is just a free add-on to whatever you're doing, right? I know you have to banish it, I know you have to find the card in the deck, but you have like Worst Tendency already, which is a fantastic card just to stack it up. Steelblade Shunt, that's right. That's the defense one, right? Steelblade. Is it one? You know what? I'll just do Shunt. It's not gonna be that many Shunt words. What was it? Yeah, when you defend a weapon attack, deal 1 damage. But I do worry about the balancing. To me, it feels like it should be 3 cost, 2 cost, 1 cost. Again, this feels like the type of effect you want to run every turn, unless they give her a bust weapon like Luminaris? God, I'm spacing on it. I think it's Luminaris, right? The minus to attack. Which makes me think, what weapons does Illusionist have in base? I mean, they'll most likely give her her own specific weapon. This song is also very quiet. Yeah. A little better. And then Zen, create a Crouching Tiger and search for a combo card. Banish it, and then you may play it. So my thinking when it comes to balancing is that, you know, chi cards will take up a third, maybe a little bit less of your deck, and that's how they get around these abilities being fairly strong. Especially with someone like Zen, right? As a ninja, it would shut down your combos, but then you have this ability to fetch one. But yeah, it all comes back to how we go about generating chi. That's the big question. Is it something as simple as play a card, generate a resource? Is it something a bit more convoluted, landing a hit as ninja, banishing a card as new, right? I could see them tying it into equipment. Then the issue becomes, if it's tied into equipment, well, then that's just a slot on the board always taken up if you're these mystic heroes. So, I mean, God. It is so open-ended. They did a really good job of not spoiling it, because it is such an open-ended concept, right? They could do anything they possibly want. It could, for all we know, be just you lose life, generate chi, right? But it probably has to be tied to a card effect, because it'd be printed on the heroes if not. So, equipment, down there, but still a possibility. Simply playing a card to generate it, another possibility. Getting to X Chainlink would then fringe on similar to like Draconic. So maybe not. Maybe it's don't attack, generate chi, right? Because that's, in a lot of games, that's usually what the thing is. You reckon on hit, instead of pausing and collecting. On hit would be interesting, because there's easier classes to shut down, right? But then it would probably still be, you know, you play a card and it's read something like, until the end of the turn, every attack that hits generate 1 chi. Or every attack has, if this hits, generate 1 chi, or something like that. But then I can also see them doing, you know, specific effects for everyone. So like, it might be every time you lose an aura, or when something pops with Phantasm or Ward, generate chi. If you land X amount of hits in a row, generate chi. If you banish, it'd probably still be the banish Cerner card, right? And basically they're just replacing their normal effects. So instead of generating silver, new has generate chi. Instead of, I guess, drawing, although you could still run the draw engines because it's the Mask of Momentum, right? Generate chi. And then pop stuff, generate chi. That's probably the best way to balance it. But again, if it was that style of effect, I would assume them to be built into the hero rather than the cards. Because, again, my worry is if they get too specific with the cards, then it's just those cards only ever have this purpose. And that's it. I can definitely see them doing equipment. And the whole balancing is you take more chi building equipment, you take less normal, good, legendary equipment. Lots to think about. Alright, I didn't really read through this properly, so we'll see if we missed anything. There wasn't actually that much info. It was still mainly about Pro Tour, the keynote speech. which is interesting because I would have thought, you know, we would have gotten a lot more information, especially about the marbles. If they had, you know, something really chase to show up, I feel like they would have spoiled it. Or maybe they knew after, like, Dusk Till Dawn and the Evos, they'd stop. Mystic marbles. Yeah. Probably General, Generate Chi. Mystic M's probably Generate Chi. Yeah. So, okay. So, balancing wise, if it's on equipment, the whole concept is take this equipment, take less impactful equipment. If it's on cards, then the whole point would be, you know, you have to moderate your deck so that some of it generates chi but doesn't have a great overall other use. If it is something as simple as like the normal collection of attacks for a hero and generate chi, then it's, I think, too strong. Right? Because it's the base concept you're going for and you're not sacrificing anything to do it to get these payoffs. It's just what you generally work towards, which makes it a bit unimaginative, right? It's just another spin on what you normally do, and in fact it's basically equivalent to what Assassin already does in generating silver for your payoffs, but we'll have to see. So I haven't read the descriptions. A seductive assassin who visits her targets in their dreams lures them down to the waters to die by a single venomous strike. Who uses stealth to keep her prey guessing, hiding fatal attack reactions behind an alluring smile. Alright, so buffing reactions. Even her reactions could be, you know, generate chi. Single venomous strike, right? That does make me think there'll be some overarching mechanic where you're building something up, and if it gets to a certain point, they get KO'd. Maybe. Dreams, Laura. Could read into anything there. So, a lone illusionist carrying centuries-old tales and traditions with her ancestral tapestry. She is an ever-changing mystery like the waxing and waning moon. Enigma uses spectral shields to ward off damage while building up to her true form. Ah, okay. So that screams they have... were they demi? Are they called demi-heroes? It's kind of weird because you turn your hero into a demi-hero. Are they demi-heroes? That click, that terminology is so weird. Yeah, so you turn your hero into a demi-hero. That's interesting. But yeah, so something like that for Illusionist would be a cool spin, where you become the big illusion. Most likely you're going to have some sort of chain of monsters, similar to Dromai and Prism, right? It's just the general trend they do, and with a scroll and tapestry of ancestors, you know, it could be just ancient warriors. That could be a fun concept. A balanced ninja, empowered by years of training and discipline, hunting his true purpose by following the winds, then uses the art of the crouching tiger to weave martial attacks together in quick succession. So it's still just tiger use. See, this has the most possibility to me, right? Of actually impacting the whole scope of play. Because if it is just strong tiger mechanics that aren't bound to Mystic, then a lot of decks can benefit, right? All of Ninja technically benefits. Whereas, you know, Illusionists are all tucked away behind their own talents. So the possibility of a ton of crossover isn't really there. You'll get some, but not a lot. Assassin, similar as well. But if it doesn't really generate silver, right, there'll only be some use. The attacks are probably out if it is banished to do something else, or if it is specifically looking for blue cards. If it doesn't further the overarching goal, which is being set up, which is silver and repacking equipment, then it could be, you know, singular purpose behind just new. Again, I want a great amount of overlap, right? Sets need to be better and connected, right? That's how they have purpose going forward. That's how it's good to return to them. You look at the first 3 sets, they have so many impactful cards in the generic slot that make them worth revisiting. You then get to Tails, and it's very one-dimensional, being that it's only in itself, right? Again, I go back to Bright Lights and the fact that they could have made items for everyone, but they didn't, and that really makes it just a Mechanologist set rather than being a Mechanologist theme set that has something for everyone. So again, that's my hope. Given their trend, it's not what we're going to get. World Championship is in Osaka, right? And then we have our first classic constructed deck. yeah, I still find it weird that's just deck, right? Not multiple decks into multiple decks, it's just a deck into another deck. But they say compete at armory level, so be careful. Gonna either print something that's competitive or nuke something that is already utilized. So that's a little bit of a worry. But it is definitely needed, right? We want class constructed decks, we want decks that you can pick up, you can take, you can play, and this is your proper starting point, seeing as class constructed is so much more highly emphasized than Blitz. The strike decks are also interesting, because what is a strike deck, right? Is it a better Blitz deck? Is it a class constructed deck that is not competitive ready, but better? Is it? I don't know. And then they're already talking about the 14th set. So they are calling it mysterious, and again, the fact that they've announced it at the same time, or a lot earlier than what we'd normally get, right? The timetable, that's fine, but again, emphasizing talking about it, makes me think that you're kind of on the money, Fish, and it could be another mysterious set, and they are connected, right? Part 1 and Part 2, similar to Uprising Dynasty, which I'm all for, but again, do Mystics and then do generics, right? Don't double down on Mystics, that would be my personal opinion. Let's see if I've missed anything anywhere else. So they've changed it to Chi and the Generation Chi. So it's still the pitch symbol, but I guess that's just their resource symbol. Anything of worth, right? I think it's just talking about the pro stuff. It is gorgeous, everything they're doing, right? Even the trophies look cool. Yeah, I don't think. We can peruse the comments maybe a bit later. We don't have to worry about that. And this is just more so about the Pro Tour. I think that's fine. Oh, what? There's a Klloo? I didn't realize that. But look at that, 76. Yeah, so KO is going to get very close, which is also kind of funny as well. I feel like they had a much safer bet of picking Reiner, right? And you could still play with KO. In fact, they could have made it KO and Reiner, and you can swap out cards, or you can just swap the hero, because they are similar enough where I think you can make a competitive deck that fits either. But obviously with KO on the way out, it will be interesting how close he gets to LL by the time this, again, Armory competitive deck that may or may not be legal comes out, right? Again, the Living Legend system just has a lot of good, but it has a lot of bad as well. Things that you don't think about, seeing as rotation can happen very unreliably. Where is he anyway? So yeah, so he's accrued the most points by far in the season, and he will continue to accrue the most points by far. I don't think, obviously, he'll LL by the time the deck comes out, but it does mean the deck will not have a long life. Hopefully they make it to when the next deck releases, but that is also kind of a weird cycle, where the deck goes, they bring a new deck out, and they wait for it to LL, and a new deck comes. I guess just do the most popular hero. Anything else of worth? Oh, there is some stuff. New York, man from Wisconsin. Everyone wants to know what is Chi. See the rippling pecs. One person wants to see Zen's feet. Okay. Interesting. Spain, they love the new heroes. New Ninja is interesting, no mention of feet. Variety. Everyone, yeah, is just curious about what Chi is. Maybe even more popular than the acclaimed heavy hitters. I don't think so. I think look-wise and hype-wise, maybe, but again, it just doesn't have the applicability of heavy hitters to be more popular overall in terms of sales or anything long-lasting. Like, heavy hitters has consistently performed well past its release, which is slightly unusual for most sets, because once everyone has their hands on the cards they want, it's done. The Mystic Chase, sorry, the Marvel Chase definitely will help with 18, as long as they don't flounder like the Evos, but yeah, just overall heavy hitters is going to be the more impactful set by and large. do June, September. Armory decks starting with KO. 4 new Armory decks. 3 more throughout. So I'm curious if they will drop more back to back rather than one at a time. New learning experience is most likely obviously connected to whatever the strike decks are. That's good because it's fun to crack shuffle and play. Yeah. Yeah, I wish they kept that mechanic too. Right? And again, you tweak the numbers in any given set, and crack shuffle play could work. Right? Again, you just have more generics that a lot more people would want. That would also, again, power creep is the issue there, but you could do it, and crack shuffle play could work, or even try cards would have worked. There was definitely ways to make it work with heavy hitters. I think the narrow focus, right, especially with Mistveil compared to heavy hitters, again, could be that double-edged sword. Then we have Mistveil. Anything else? Oh, that's a gorgeous energy potion. Deathmatch rules. Have they... We're getting close to the CNC stuff, right? Again, I don't closely follow the competitive. Because again, I just play for fun. 6 packs every week for 5 weeks. Still talking about crack shuffle play, I assume? Alright. Let's peruse this and see what we can find. So, testers have walked the path well travelled, like a tiger stalking its prey. They've waited. Then, Snake, Klloo, Enigma. Until now, the truth lies beyond the mist. Beckons you to venture. I don't think any of this has really changed. Canyons and gullies. Discover the secrets of the land steeped in mystique, where tradition, design, and purpose will reshape your mind, body, and soul. That does, again, scream that they have separate mechanics. Right? Because, again, they talk about how Zen wants purpose, Klloo with desire, and then Enigma keeping to tradition. Right? And they also work on different things. So, probably some sort of diversity in how they build chi. Right? Yeah, crack shuffle play heavy is, yeah. It's so weird that they come up with this mechanic, right? That, again, is meant to be new player friendly. They did really well. I feel like it's as fun, if not funner, than like the traditional jumpstart of MTG before they ruined it, and then just nothing. And it's kind of weird that they come up with so many concepts that do work and are enjoyed by the community just to move on to the next thing. I mean, it makes sure nothing grows stagnant, sure, but like strike decks. What happened to classic battles, right? Everyone enjoyed the classic battles. We could do with a lot more classic battles. Crack shuffle play, instead of, again, whatever the new player-friendly thing is. It's interesting from whatever their design philosophy is. Introducing the new Mystic Talents, beautifully crafted set for fans of sealed deck, booster, constructed, and collecting alike. Again, this is just more fanfare of what they normally say. Limited will definitely be fun. Again, it depends on how they fit in with the other ones, right? It all comes back down to chi. If chi is easy to generate, then they'll sit at the top. If chi is hard to generate, then they'll just be, flavorless heroes that sometime get to do something cool. Alright, chi. What can we figure out? Empty your mind, let your essence ebb, let it flow, become one with everything and one with nothing. Transcend beyond the manifestations of the physical. Find your inner chi, find your true self. Heartland Mistveil introduces chi, a new type of resource unique to the Mystic Talent. Yeah, that doesn't tell us much. But discovering one's inner chi is a journey that takes time, and for some, a lifetime. Many journeys begin and few complete for those who journey deep within themselves and reach the crossroads of harmony beyond mind, body, and soul. Transcendence awaits. I can see it being a play 3 different things sort of mechanic as well, right? You have to attack, you have to play a normal action card. The defend is when it becomes a bit weird, right? Because then your opponent could do nothing and shut you down, I guess. So I guess that's fairly balanced to build something like that, right? In your turn you have to attack, play an action, and then on your opponent's turn you have to defend, right? You have to go through that 3 cycle. You have to go on this journey of mind, body, and soul to generate chi. And then that way it's, again, gives your opponent the option to attack, don't attack, let you develop the chi, let you not. Also putting a timer on it, I can see them doing something like that, right? If you don't get to 3 and use it by a certain point, by a certain turn, it disappears, or some way for your opponent to disrupt or destroy it. But again, I can't see the generation being equivalent, given the 3 different effects, right? Impactful, if you could play it every turn, is it too strong? Kinda, it feels like every other turn. Enigma feels like something you want to play every turn, and then New feels like your finisher, something you're building up to and then playing. Yeah, it really doesn't tell us much, other than the design. It looks interesting. Given this artwork, I assume there'd be a card for it, and that card is probably just going to generate chi straight out, in which case it's probably going to be one of the best cards for them. And then we have the world premiere in Tokyo. Anything between the lines for us to read? All players who participate, I would assume it's going to be a chi card, right? Each one of the most, I assume it will probably be something like this. Even if not that card, because I think that in cold foil is already a gorgeous card, right? With just the specs and the streaks, and then the main resource images. So I can see that being the big promo for everyone. First guess, cosplayers, week-long schedule, competitive casual events, world premiere, calling, and then the battle hardened. Pre-release, low stakes way for casual players to explore. Suggested format is pre-constructed. Daily use the Blitzex from the collector box, alternatively a heavy hitters Blitzex. That'll also be interesting, see if anyone brings it. And whether or not they're, balanced against one another. Because again, the heavy hitter decks seem fairly decent. All game stores who host armory events will receive a 6-card play promo pack. So, what was it for heavy hitters? Was it the weapons? I think it was the weapons. But that's not 6, because there'd only be 3. Your Rainbow Foil copies, yeah, oh, there we go. Never mind. Let's continue reading. So it is the 3 weapons. I recommend the first 6 players who sign up receive the promo, again, up to their discretion. To expand in slot, 13 new cards. Okay, this is the point of contention, right? It's getting reduced more and more. The range is not being reduced. The impact of the cards is probably getting increased, right? They feel very impactful, especially in focused sets like this. But only 13 new cards. The easiest way to look at it is you always go to the Living Legend board, and then that pretty much tells you who they're printing cards for, right? So, do we get stuff for heavy hitters? I don't think so. I think it's too soon for them to have cards specifically for heavy hitters. But I could be wrong, because there was stuff for Dash or Mechanologist as a whole in heavy hitters, was there not? Let's look at that quickly. Sets. Yeah, sets. Heavy hitters. H. There we go. Right, come on, load. I love Australian internet. There we go. Yeah, so they had Evo, Magneto, Reel In, Wild's 4, Ranger is promo for Riptide, right? Wizard will probably continue to get support. Standing Order. What about Standing Order? When this attacks or defends, you may put a card from your arsenal on the bottom. Ah, right, if we're talking they have to, attack, defend, do everything. Yeah, I can see that. How many do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Again, it just feels like they could really use this to be a lot more impactful. I mean, it's great that the cards that they are printing are generally super impactful, but I would like to see more cards in the expansion slot, right? Give the set a decent chunk of purpose outside of whatever the set is. Because I do worry for the longevity of boxes, right? Because with how Living Legend has ended up shaping up, it's not as successful as what I assuming they wanted it to be. Granted, they aren't truly pushing it as well as they could in terms of events. To then, you know, again, you go back to the first block of sets, to the supplemental sets versus the other sets, and you do have sort of a drop-off in longevity. Hey, Sergeant Rob. Ah, thanks, man. Enjoy the drive. Hopefully. So yeah, I do think they could use the expansion slot to definitely bridge that gap a lot better if there were just more cards in it, more cards to fish out. If the ratio was a bit better. Again, they've got the double token slot, they can cut that back a little bit more than just 1 in 15. But it's what they're doing. Power level of the cards is definitely appropriate. Just feels bad. Because at some point it will be just fishing for these cards. I mean, Bright Lights is a lot of just fishing for the expansion slot. Because there's just way too much Mechanologist, basically. Right? If you think about the ratios, this set is divided in 3. Bright Lights is not. So for every box you open with Bright Lights looking for the expansion slot, you are basically flooding the market with 3 times the amount of Mechanologist cards than these other sets. Yeah, I'm fairly excited for it too. And I have never played any of the 3 either. I mean, we're just dabbling in Illusionist now. I love the design, right? It's just, it has worries to me. Especially revolving around the Living Legend system that they've introduced. If it was 6 heroes, I feel a lot more comfortable with it and its longevity. But we'll have to see. Again, it all relies on how they balance chi. Alright, so 239 cards, 1 Fable, 6 Legendaries. Japanese language product has 1 additional Legendary and Marvel. Ah, okay, that's actually interesting. So 1 additional Legendary and Marvel. So it's most likely going to be alt art, right, rather than a specific Legendary or Marvel, unless they are wanting to reprint something specific for Japan. That's the other way you could take that, but then I would expect it to be more than 1, unless they use it as a running trend going forward, and they use it to print whatever is short-stocked in Japan. But otherwise it would probably just be a alt art, you know, Japanese-esque. Again, I personally don't want them to go down the anime route, right? I think the art style is already wonderful for the Japanese market. I've lost them already. I like the Mistveil, right? Like, this is as close as I think they should get in terms of the color scheme and everything. Other than that, these are the type of cards you will see. There was, oh god, I'm trying to think. There was a traditional Chinese card game that was very art style like this and was hugely popular. Like even here in Australia, because we get a lot of Chinese born and even just, you know, coming for school, right? Tons of them in play. You have a good morning. Well, no, it's my morning, it's your night, right? So have a good night, Rob. Yeah, I think they nailed the pre-release events and all those play events fantastically. But again, usually we have that drop-off. Heavy Hitters is pretty much the outlier at this point because, again, how well the set is, how versatile the set is, how far-reaching the set is for all of play. So Fabled, I think the money is on a ninja gem or a ninja specific card. I could in all honesty, see them doing it like a Crouching Tiger, right? Because we already have a Marvel, so I could see them doing it one step up. But I think a gem, right? I think, what was it I proposed in Riddler Man's Discord? Or pitch, create a Crouching Tiger. There we go. Nice and simple, right? Fits new ninja, since ninja's identity is it's morphing to just Crouching Tiger. That got loud all of a sudden. Oh, right, because I fat thumbed the volume. Not for you guys, for me. I basically have it where I can't even hear the music, in all honesty. People love Guardians. Oh, right, yeah. Got pretty two polarizing characters though, which people would love to just play and shove down someone's mouth, basically. Okay, the 18 marbles is definitely the interest, and the 12 tokens. Actually, the 12 tokens is more interesting to me. I wanna compare it. This does have the card numbers, right? Yeah. So Heavy Hitted had 15 tokens. But that makes sense, because we had gold, we had the bigger agility might. That's 4. And then the traditional tokens. But then also some of them were weapons. Yeah, 12 tokens is interesting. You reckon the Japanese specific one is just something inset? Yeah, it's well, similar, right? So either it's a reprint that they want for the Japanese market, right? We'll call that probably 20%. Actually less than that. Or it is a specific card of the set that they have old art, right? I don't think it will be a Japanese only card. That just seems absurd to me. But yeah, so 5 and 17. 5 is basically what they've been doing for most sets now, right? Yeah. But again, you have the whole, it's only 3, not 6. So tokens will tell us what else is in there. So Crouching Tiger, Spectral Shield, that's already 2. 3 weapons, right, is 5. So it already leaves 10 tokens to be something else. Sorry, not 10. Come on, Heavy Hitters. It still leaves 7 tokens, which means that you could probably guess the expansion slot cards off of the 12 tokens. Right? If they do something with Guardian, Seismic Surge is 1. They do something with Assassin, Silver, 2. Something with Wizard, Ponder, 3. What else? Runeblade, Runechant, 4. I mean, we can probably just take a look at all the tokens. Because I would assume there's some for Chi, right? The Chi in itself would be a token you generate and you store up. But that would still only be 1 slot, right? So we're at 6 extra tokens outside of Chi and what's already included. Where would tokens be? Subtypes? No. Rarity? Rarity. Alright, Ash is Draconic, so not Ash. I don't think we revisit Agility, Might, Vigor, or like the Plague stuff. So the class-specific tokens. We've already basically listed all of them. Runechant, Ponder, Seismic Surge. Yeah, that's a lot of token slots. See Quicken. I mean, they could do another concept like Phoenix Flame. I could see that working. Maybe they each have 1, right? So you have Crouching Tiger as Ninja, then you have Serpent as... Well, and yeah, what are the words? You have Crouching Tiger, Slithering Snake is all that comes to mind, right? And then Waning Moon could be interesting. Maybe as the moon rotates, you get something else. There's definitely lots of ways to spin it, but the numbers definitely throw you off because this is just... seems like so many things, but just 3. 18, well 17 marbles, 12 tokens, 123 commons. Anything else dropped off? No, so it's about the same common, mystic, and rare, sorry, majestic ratios. Less rares, but we don't have the additional rares. Of the 17, we're guaranteed that 6 are hero. 1 is probably a Crouching Tiger. So that leaves 10. I could see them doing a string of illusionist characters, whatever it is. Call that 6 to 8. So that leaves 2. So then something for Ninja. Yeah, I think the new has some sort of poison generation, right? And whether that's, you know, through attacks, through something, and his serpents, or even, yeah, just a straight up Crouching Tiger clone, but with stealth instead, that you then enable with attacks. There's definitely going to be cool mechanics. Again, the warrior is just that they're tied specifically to these three, and these three only. And that's fun, but it always feels like a waste to me, because there are so many great ideas. Right? Fab is just a wealth of ideas. But they don't stick to anything. They continuously go to whatever the next thing that comes to mind is. Rares commons 43. So there's technically more Majestics, but they'll occupy the cheese slot, right? So we're potentially looking at 7 subsets of cards, right? So you have Assassin, Ninja, Illusionist, you then have Mystic of all 3, and then you have Mystic cards in general, which would attribute to the extra Majestics. I would think, though, that would attribute to extra rares, but I guess not. Or 54. How many? It's just 1. Yeah. But then you don't have the crossover cards either, right? Because Heavy Hitters technically had 3, 3, and generics still. So it still had 7. Do I put generics in this set? That's a curiosity in itself. So many Marvels. If the rates are still the same, though, it does sort of feel like Marvels are just becoming the new cold foil, which is also bad, because eventually, once they get to a point of printing a certain amount of boxes, it then becomes, well, they need to think up a new element to continue to have the same proportional rarity. It should be a shame if Marvels just become the new cold foils, because it feels like they should really be desired. But at 18, hitting any specific one is going to be a nightmare. 1 in 192. Do they keep the same ratio? Do they tweak it slightly? I feel like they tweak it slightly. Done for Booster Draft, Sealed, Decks, and Constructed. Available in all languages. 8 iconic cards from Part of the Mistveil available in Rainbow Foil. Iconic cards from Part of the Mistveil. Do you think they will do crossover cards? That would be interesting. Especially if they're not tied to Mystic. That would be really good, in my perspective. Right, because it would give a lot of flexibility to the already existing classes, with the exception of probably Illusionist, since it's on the way out. I was really shocked that there wasn't at least 2 Illusionists. Because again, it seems like they're trying to hit 2 to 3 of every class, and Illusionist is just... Once Dromai's gone, you just have Prism, and Prism is such a specific mechanic as well, that just a base Illusionist could have done well, I think. Right, one that doesn't have access to any specific card pool, just runs off of the generic traits. And then they could work on refining and buffing what base Illusionist is. Alright, and then we have the collection, which I think yeah, wow. What was Roundtable's valuation? So yeah, 3 decks, 3 packs, a box and a mat for $100. That's a hard pass. 6 Blitz decks is usually 108, I think is the go here in Australia. Where's the... Did not release... Is it the release? No, these are the marketing. These aren't the... No. I'm looking for... There we are, product sheets. Alright, so around the table, by comparison, which is 4 decks, was the same price point. So they've cut out a deck and they're still charging the same. That does not feel so good. And Roundtable already got a little bit of grief on its pricing. I didn't think it was so bad splitting it 3 ways, again, as a thing to play. But 3 decks, especially when we know they're designing better products, right? So I assume the Blitz decks are just going to be stock standard. They might be a bit better than normal, right? Closer to the heavy hitter design. But then we have the strike decks, whatever they're going to be, right? Whether it's close to Blitz, close to Class Constructed, or just a whole new format. And then, of course, we have the proper Class Constructed decks coming out. So, yeah, this price point is worrisome. Especially because the playmat isn't anything spectacular. Again, the bright light stuff on around the table was worrisome to me. I just wanted the Melody deck, right? Most people just wanted the new decks. These aren't new decks. These are most likely going to be inset cards. Yes, you've got the EAs, but a lot of decks are just bought, torn apart, and sold off. And I can see lots of people just buying the cards, because I really don't think the playmat is desirable. I think they should have gone with this proper art as the playmat, right? Instead of, God, where is it? Not that one. Did I not open it? I probably didn't open it. Product page, no, that one. Do they have the mats? God, you have to go through way too much. And I'm clicking all over the place. Because I'm trying to make separate tabs, but oh well. Product sheet, there we go. Right, so the playmat looks like that. So I don't even think that's the new art. That's the old Mistveil art. Yeah, that is this artwork that they have had for ages, I'm pretty sure. Is it in lore or is it in HD? It's in HD, I think. Right, for the different locations. Yeah. I mean, it's cool, but it's just, it's old. Right? I mean, it hasn't been used in much else, so it makes sense. But as you can see by the color gradients and everything here, they have definitely transitioned to what they want Mistveil to be. And, I mean, they could have recolored, they could have added a mist over it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's wonderful scenery. It does look kind of washed out, though, in the artwork here. Maybe it's just because of the zones. But, yeah, I feel like this artwork would have been a lot more well received and would have been a gorgeous playmat to have. This very much is just the bright lights mat, right? They give off the same sort of color grading. Does this not show the playmat? I guess it doesn't show the playmat. But the playmat was this artwork. Right? They're very similar in color gradients. You just replace the greens with oranges. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the bundle. Again, at least if you did 4, you could have put the whole round the table spin on it. And you could have picked a whole wealth of characters to slot in there. It didn't have to be Mystic. It could have, again, been one easy to play, easy to learn deck, right? Zari would have done fine. Or even just another welcome style Ira, Katsu. We also don't get any new young heroes, right? We don't get a new Benji. We don't get... Is there anyone else, actually? It's just Benji, right? In this set of classes. I do like the storage box, right? Because it fits the whole set. Yeah, but I'm not gonna buy it. Plain and simple. If I want any of the EAs, I will just buy the EAs. It's definitely not worth the price point, I think. which makes me think that they're not printing a lot of them. Right, they don't have some sort of discount to bulk. Because I don't see why it'd be equivalent. I know there's packs in there, but it's only 3 packs. Well, we'll see how it goes at release, I suppose. Let's move the box. Here's a trailer. Product sheets. Open that. Anything else in here? Venture into cloaks. Uncover ancient truths and traditions. 3 new heroes. Sacred arts to ascend beyond your natural limitations. Unlocking hidden abilities powered by unique resource. So this, you know what also this screams to me? Is that the Mystic cards will cost chi. I think that's also another way they go about balancing it. You don't just have your hero power as the sole spender of chi. You have cards. You have finishes that use chi. And it's just the whole resource mechanic, and it plays a lot more like an RPG. Which I think is fantastic. Cool design, right? To have a unique resource system within it. It feels like each class is basically an MMO class. Reduce your enemies into laying their guard down with new harness power crafting tigers and ward off threats. Breathtaking Marvel heroes and traditional Japanese illustration cards. Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, so highly assume there's no anime. It is traditional artwork, which is way better in my opinion. A diverse range of support cards within the expansion slot. Again, it's like 1 for every class. It's the first set to be released in the Japanese language, which is fantastic. Again, it's such gorgeous artwork. Right? Blues. More blues. It's clear that they want blues. This is not blue. A little blue. Where's lose the tab we're at? 18 marbles, cold foils. The rarity's all the same. They took out the percentage, interestingly. They just rounded up. Right, instead of doing 1.68. Love how the new assassin is like the Guardian killer assassin. Yeah. Yeah, it just, in certain matchups, it's a floodgate against all blues. You don't want blues in your deck. Which could make it super strong or super weak. Token / expansion 1. Expansion slots may include content that expands any class of talent. Yeah, same old. Say card drop frequencies are approximate ranges. There we go. Right? So that's why they've rounded it. Differ. Japanese language product has 1 additional. So I'm curious about this and whether or not they release the alternative language. I know you'll have people who do go out of their way to import it, but do LSS make the option available to proper distribution to gain access to, you know, the alternative language boxes? So I remember like War of the Spark was such a big thing to have it in Japanese. I think I still have boxes somewhere because I wanted Liliana, mainly because of the price, not really because of the artwork. It was cool, but it wasn't fantastic to me. So I'm curious about that, and only 1, well 2 cards. Is that really worth hunting through? You'll have people, but I don't think overall. Crown Guardian, like how Riptide preys on Warrior. Yeah. Again, I love that they build into this cyclic nature where you do have classes and just solid bad matchups. Right, we can look at Babri at the moment. God, where is this? It's under stats, under meta results. The big table that shows the percentages. I think so. Yeah, right. I don't know why it reloaded. That's interesting. But there is so many working parts of the game now to balance. Let load, I assume. Right, teaser trailer. So we opened up the product. Tournament. Increased prize pool, fantastic. Again, it's just in such a strong position overall, Flesh and Blood. Partly Mistveil beckons. We're looking for like diversity in the words used or any sense of the writing, but it's not. Right, old art, gorgeous. Glad they've taken them out of the history products, sorry, full art. Again, history products are dead. That's the biggest thing for me, is there will be no 3, 4, or 5. It's just dropped off the face of the earth, which is fine. That's the bundle. Right, that was in the other one, wasn't it? Yeah. I already had it opened. Can't see that. Interesting. Loaded before. There we are. Yeah, so you obviously have decks that stand out, which is fine. But you generally see them just have one matchup where they are bad against. Which is what you really want, just one class that always counters something. Also, am I reading this wrong? Either way, it's the same sort of concept. Should be that versus that, right? And also just making sure all this is considerably balanced. What you want. Like that amazes me every time I look at it. That they can have the game this well tuned across this many heroes and sub talents and all the different variability. Alright. Anything else? Don't think there's much else for us to cruise through. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I highly doubt, yeah, the card gallery's up. Formats. Cube. I'm just curious if they've, accidentally released anything. They shouldn't have. But we have the Strike decks coming August. 2 months between the Armory decks, and then the next set in September. I don't know, what do you think Strike decks are? I guess that's the question to ask. I feel like it's going to be another spin on Blitz that is more geared towards Classic Constructed. What could they do? What could they do that wouldn't ruin Blitz but still be player friendly? Because Strike just makes me think, it's a quicker format. But then Blitz is already significantly quick. I can see them doing. Sorry if I talk, I think you can hear the airplane. I could see them doing Blitz, but reducing hand size. Right, so Blitz actually lasts longer but is technically quicker. I think that would work. Because obviously the big impact for Blitz versus Classic Constructed is you have less HP, but you have the same cards, size basically. It's ratioed correctly when it should be ratioed differently, so that Blitz is just quicker Classic Constructed. 2 versus 2. Oh, I don't think that would work as a product though. If it had the option to be up to 2 versus 2. They love formats. Right? Then you got Blitz, Class Constructed, you've got the main formats, and then there's just so many special formats. And I do think they'll continue to add to this. I mean, I doubt, even 20% of the community has played Shapeshifter, mainly because Cheyenne is so rare. But I'm pretty sure Shapeshifter doesn't even need Cheyenne. No, it's just like a spin on Blitz, basically. But yeah, if Blitz was less intellect, right? If intellect got ratioed like HP, you'd have Blitz just being quicker, Class Constructed, but being very similar. You'd still have classes that work better with less cards than others, but I think that would have stopped them diverging as much as they have, right? Because just having the same access to the same amount of cards but less HP is what has turned Blitz into the Rush format, where it's just aggro does a lot better because games don't go as long, right? And you don't need equipment or cards that are going to be longer payoff. So I can see them sticking in a format that's like that, where, again, intellect is the big thing that gets ratioed along with HP and deck size. Even if they cut deck size again, because the intellect is ratioed, right? They do 30 card decks, your all heroes are -1 intellect, HP is halved. I do think they still should do broader concepts, right? Love the dynamic of young and old heroes, but it would be just so simple to make everything usable in everything. You already have the schematics. Again, it's just those ratios. HP gets halved, deck size gets cut to 2/3, copies gets cut to 2/3. But instead, you need a young hero, you need an old hero, and any young hero can't be used in Classic Constructed. But I think that's about it. Doesn't look like we've missed anything. We could speculate on Chi till the cows come home, basically. There's just so many ways to spin it. Again, the big tell for me is the fact that they're all 3 costs. So, okay, why don't we'll do a list. Chi generation, right? We'll do generation first, then we'll do spending and payoff. So generation. We'll most likely at least have some sort of card that is just play to generate. Hey, Andrew. Well, it's fine. We're sort of summarizing. And if there's anything you want to discuss, feel free to, or any speculation you've got, just let me know. Read it, we'll talk about it. But yeah, so generation. You've got the big, fantastic artwork, which annoys me because I did not save this artwork before they changed it. So it's under the article. Right? Yeah. You've got this gorgeous piece of artwork, which makes me think there will just be a card that is play this, generate. So how much does it generate? That's one of the questions, right? Because again, these 3 abilities are not evenly matched to me, right? You want Enigma to be able to play almost every turn, unless her weapon or something else has a lot greater range of generating and using Spectral Shield. You want the +1 counters, you want just a big board of them, they're going to be popped. So even in a longevity sense, right? Enigma, you use the ability, you probably get its benefits, and it's a minor benefit compared to the other 2 for a turn or 2. Zen is a really strong effect, being able to search out any combo card in your deck. But then you also get the Crouching Tiger, which allows you to pump up your chain. If you're building into Crouching Tiger, does it force you to build into Crouching Tiger? It's in your hand, so it can be used for different things, right? I mean, Matt, use it. E-Strike. You have the card to get rid of now, right? You just sacrifice a Crouching Tiger. And there's some other cards that are like that, where you can just sack Crouching Tiger. I mean, Art of War, fantastic as well. Get rid of Crouching Tiger. You generate it anyway, so it's free, right? This is a pretty big enabler for a lot of different combos. And then New is by far, to me, the most devastating, mainly because of the clause at the end, where it is free to use whatever you have access to. It just becomes so powerful. If you're able to get any blue cards in your opponent's bench zone, then all of a sudden, they're just adding on to whatever you're doing already in your normal turns. She has to be like some kind of transfer function that transfers resources into the chi mechanics, so maybe a good estimate would be to look at the value of what the cards are going to do for 3. Alright, so you're saying you can convert a blue card into 3. You can convert a yellow card into 2 chi, and basically just make it a straight up mimic of the normal resource mechanic. I would say that the 3 of them probably have their own chi generating mechanics, and then Mystic in itself has its own generating mechanic. Sort of backfill, how it's acting like a filtering mechanic for resources. I can see them doing something similar to the Soul in that sense. Especially because they, again, emphasize, was it mind, body, soul, right? Where you do have to sacrifice the cards somewhere. You won't get the use of having them recycled into your deck, and then you generate chi off of them. It becomes terrifying with the fact that a lot of people use blue blocks. Yeah. Again, it it surprises me that they're all the same cost, because that means that the generation has to be different, right? Because again, Enigma, you want to play it every turn. Zen feels like every other turn, right? You go off, you go big combo, off combo, big combo, off combo, and then Klloo is a finisher, more or less. So I can see Zen being something like, if you get to X combo, generate chi, right? Similar to the Mask of Momentum, you know, 3 cards hit in a row, you get 1 chi. So in 3 turns, if you've successfully done your combos, then you can use his ability for 1 bigger chain or something like that. Klloo, oh god, what can Klloo be? Probably, I think we said before, just replacing the silver mechanic. So instead of generating silver off of banishing X cards, you generate chi. You banish red card, you generate 1, yellow 2, blue 3. But then blue into 3 would also then directly benefit her ability. So I can see them inversing it. Banish a red for 3, banish a yellow for 2, and a blue for 1. Right? So if you get, the more you're building up to your payoff, the less chi you're generating. And then yeah, Enigma being something similar to what you're saying, Andrew, as a spin on the soul mechanic, where you're using your resource cards to generate chi at the cost of not being able to utilize them again. Could definitely be the mechanic. As for just the Mystic class in itself, plain and simple, I hope they are nothing cards that all they do are generate chi. And the whole purpose of them is you have to ratio your deck against generating chi, right? So you have a lot more, not necessarily dead cards, because obviously you're generating chi, but you know, you have to lessen your ability to build combo, lessen your ability to generate spectral shields, lessen your ability to be banishing cards in order to generate chi, and that way it's still balanced. Instead of Silver the Assassin generates chi for filling. Yeah, basically. Yeah, so we're on the same wavelength about that. But Transcendence, that's where it becomes interesting. Because usually in games, Transcendence is, you know, the perfect state of divinity where you either do more damage, you don't have to pay for costs. So I could see that being the perfect state where you don't have to spend chi, right? Everything that costs chi is free. And that could be a cool combo finisher. Again, all 3 of these feel like combo hitters. We had more traditional aggro in a sense in heavy hitters, and then these 3 have just great combo potential, and I hope that's really paid off, because obviously I love combo decks. But how do we expect the cards to end up, right? So Fish was saying before, Illusionist, Assassin, you know, have actual combos again, which I can see them doing. We know it's definitely going to be Mystic, it's definitely going to be Assassin, Illusionist, Ninja, so it's already 4 subsets in the set, right? You add in the 3 triangle, that would be the 7 that they usually aim for, right? Because it's roughly around 7. You could then throw in, obviously, Mystic, Illusionist, Mystic, Ninja, Mystic, Assassin as sort of fringe sets. So it could be a really stacked set. But if they, again, stack it towards Mystic and the talents, then it's a very much self-enclosed set. It was going to run Leave No Witness, Infiltrate, and Already Dead. Yeah, and Coerce Tendency. I mean, just the ability to guide blues towards the Banish Zone. I think Klloo is definitely going to be by far the most competitive. Unless Chi is an absolutely garbage mechanic, and it takes way too long to generate resources. Klloo is definitely going to be the runaway, right? They are very well aware of Spectral Shields and Old Prism, so I can see them pushing Enigma to the boundary, but not going above it. And then Zen combos with Catch a Tiger, it's stable, it's consistent, it's what Ninja's already doing. It's not going to be well above, it's not going to be below it, it's just going to be similar. Similar but new. Well, similar but Zen. Sorry. Okay. So, I do want to see spenders, right? This feels like a normal game where, again, you're building up your combo points to spend. There is always a lot of crossover between this and World of Warcraft, right? Even in the framing of cards, the design is reminiscent of the TCG, and that's obviously what we hope PvE will get to. So I can see it being, again, you build up these points and you have other payoffs. You don't just have your ability. In which case, I can see Chi being easily generated, right? And Zen almost always getting this off a turn, Enigma getting it off a turn. That's why they've done once per turn. Because that's another thing to think about. You know, playing this multiple times, what do you actually get? You can try to go on a streak to banish blues. As soon as you don't find a blue, right, there's no more use until you actually, you know, use some of your attacks to recycle the deck, to opt the deck, to banish the top card and then be able to spend Chi again. So the fact that it's not instant, once per turn instant, makes me definitely think their intention is that you can play this multiple times a turn. The fact that these are once per turn instants lends me to think that there will be other payoffs for Chi. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, but when is it gonna be? That's the question. So in that mindset, Ninja would definitely be the end of the combo chain. A simple payoff would be something like you can spend Chi equal to the combat chain links and deal damage equal to the links, or 2 times the links, or something like that. Enigma, spend Chi, create X amount of spectral tokens rather than, you know, spending X resources. And the beautiful thing about these types of cards is they can tack on the normal costs as well, and then have a Chi effect onto it, right? So it has a base effect, then spend Chi to do this extra thing, which again, I would love to be cards you could run in normal illusionist, normal mystic, normal assassin, and then you just have a bonus for being Chi as well. And then you get that duality, that functionality that extends past the set. As for assassin, the big Chi spender, besides your basic ability, give more cards stealth, maybe? Banish X amount of cards, that could be... I would love a mill deck. If New had a mill deck, I would play the hell out of that, right? Even if it wasn't going for the payoff, it was just strictly milling your opponent's entire deck. Because that made me sort of want to play Assassin, but then it wasn't super mill, so I wasn't fully on board. Because that was all I used to play in like Hearthstone, back when that's what Druid's identity was. I would just play mill. I think you're close with the first thing with the Chi generation is going to be through the Mystic trait. I think that the only way to generate Chi is going to be through the Mystic cards. I do think that would be the most balanced, right? That way, again, you have to stack your deck and ratio it between your actual playable cards and your payoff cards and just Chi generation. My worry is that they just give basic effects that are, you know, on hit generate Chi, but it's still a decent attack to run, or a block generate Chi, right? And then they become just staples of the deck, and the deck doesn't actually have that balancing point of sacrificing something to generate Chi. Gold, cut to the chase, +7, eradicate, banish 7 cards. See, that's getting there, but in Blitz, sure. Class constructed, 7's not a big deal. I suppose in the course of the match it is. Maybe it's getting there. Maybe it's always been there and I just didn't look closely enough. But you've already given me a list of other heroes to combo chase first before getting to Assassin. But we'll see what it brings. Right, and then we might go into Assassin. Definitely makes me want to play Illusionist, because depending on the cards, right, the whole Fractal Replication, Phantasmal Symbiosis could work really well in Enigma, especially if you're generating a bunch of Spectral Shields. Then Fatigue Enigma with a disgusting combo. Again, I want it to work with like Last Ditch Effort. So you go Phantasmal Symbiosis, Last Ditch Effort, Last Ditch Efforts, Fractal Replication, Fractal Replication. That'd be the combo for me. I would also add variance in a way that Brian seems to enjoy, with the wager mechanic and heavy hitters. Yeah. As long as your opponent has the option to deny, in a sense. But see, the wager mechanic is well balanced because your opponent has upside, right? If the Chi is just, they don't generate Chi, then I feel you're not sacrificing anything. Because again, it's just, you get the Chi, plus you get whatever the base card does. Therefore, it's just a win more style of card. Rather, if it gave the opponent something, or if the opponent had some way to utilize chi, even if chi was a generic token that was also generate resources, right? Similar to Vigor or something, it pops, you get, but that might be too OP depending on how much chi they can actually generate. If they themselves can also then have that diversity of choosing chi to gain resource. Or maybe it could just straight up be they start the next turn with X resource. Right? So, similar to Wager, the Mystic hero gets chi, the opposing hero gets just energy. It will be definitely interesting to see how they balance it. It's really the mechanic that underpins the entire set. If it's too strong, all three are fantastic. If it's too weak, all three aren't. If it's way too strong, all three LL, and then the set goes into limbo, similar to the other talented sets. If it's too weak, then they'll just slowly buff it, and it will get to a point where it feels good. And then they'll LL. He's not going to get over this art style. I hope that this is the best performing young hero in terms of the Marvel. They're gorgeous, right? These are cool, but they're pretty, especially when it's foiled. But it also means that this is the silver-haired lady in the Illusionist artwork, right? Which means, are we ever going to get Amara, who's mentioned in cards? The elemental cards usually started below rate, right? I'm guessing you mean in terms of the attack and defense. And with the bonus, the other cards get a little better. Yeah. But again, my issue with the elemental cards is just heroes had access to toolkits that were outside their normal means, basically. So hopefully, yes, the chi cards they can be normal generation, just call it an on-hit effect for an attack, but they start weaker than normal. But the issue with that, though, is if you think about these classes, right? As long as you're getting the attacks off, Zen doesn't really care about the total damage. You get the banish effects anyway, and then Illusionists, they have to be strong anyway, because you've got the whole Phantasmal and that payoff. Your Arachne deck has always been played like a mill deck. The deck's main plan is to force block. Systematically remove their whole deck. See, that's... yeah, now I'm interested, Fish. I don't know, man. I'm not anything on any of these three classes. I'm probably going to skip the set more than I did Bright Lights, wait for the Arcane set. Yeah, I'm still hoping. Right, Wizard is the main focus of the last set of the year. But then that also means we're not revisiting Tales. And... is it 2 years now? 3 years? With Tales just being in limbo. So many cards in limbo. Especially because, again, they were melded into Everfest, so melded into Uprising. I don't know. I want Wizard, because I want to see what they do. Again, I'd love just 3 Wizards. Maybe throw in Runeblade as well. You have a proper normal Spellcaster Wizard, you have a Spellblade Wizard, you have a Defensive Wizard. It does beg the question of how many heroes are left, right? Because, again, depending on how you chalk up the whole 15 statement, we technically hit it. They have that scapegoat of young and old being separate, versus if it is just per character, then what we're at 3 and 5, so we're at 8. Which doesn't work either, because then the last set would have to have 7. That doesn't quite make sense. So I think this is the 15 done. I think this is what they count as 15, right? This has 6, heavy hitters at 10. Even if that's what it is, right? We just get the 3 elemental wizards. Although I'd rather them, add like fire in. I mean, elemental is pretty open-ended. They can literally add whatever they want to it. It doesn't have to be the 3 of Tails. So they can do like earth, fire, wind, and then have a huge Tails set the following year that has all... how many did we just add? 5? 5 elements? But then they do have to retroactively bounce around all the cards that are already in existence. Yeah, but I'd like them to actually give the subtype to Klloo of actually fire. But then it'd be kind of weird because you have like all the fire spells that already exist. Do they do something with that? Do they tweak fire so it's completely different? The normal elemental? It'll be interesting. Wizard's still my best bet just because of the card totals. Right, Wizard is by far the smallest at this point in time. And it's also, you know, a very mid-performing deck in Classic Constructed. Yeah, 144 in total for Wizard, when the majority of other classes are above the 200 range. Illusionist being the next lowest, I believe. Right, Assassin is... No, Assassin is tiny as well. Right, so Assassin makes sense. I remember Runeblade being high. Yeah, Runeblade's over 200. Why don't I just do this? We're going to do it anyway. Brute is 244. Guardian, 239. I acknowledge this should be in the 300s, because they got a full set, yep. Ninja, I think it's still in the 200s. Yeah, 210. Ranger will also be in the 200s. Close enough. And then Warrior, and then Wizard. So Assassin's getting some love, Illusionist is getting some love, Wizard will be the lowest card count remaining. So it definitely makes sense for them to do something with Wizard. It's a new, like, KO restyle where he becomes a Draconic Wizard or Fire Elemental Wizard. I could see them really just doing it like a traversing set. Traversing set? What am I trying to say? God, that word. Verging? No. Coming together. My brain is just not clicking with that word. But yeah, where they do like Draconic Klloo. They do Elemental something, and then they do even Mystic. Right? And we have all the talents come together and duke it out. I think that could be fun. And that would allow them to, for instance, expand upon Mystic if it's not where it fully needs to be after this set, as well as revisit some of Tales, get some of those cards out of Traversing. Converging. There we go. It's a C. We got there in the end. Converging. A converging set of the talents where they span all three. Span all... There's a lot more than three, but yeah. So they do Elemental, they do Draconic, they do... Because Draconic is basically fire, right? That would be interesting. But yeah, definitely Wizard for the last set of the year. Wizard and something else. I don't know. I think they could get away with a Soul Wizard set, and it would be better than Bright Lights. It would be better received than Bright Lights, simply because, obviously, Wizard is more RPG-esque, and that is more of what the community likes. But overall, right, what I would like to see them do is have more cards that have a lot more cross-compatibility. Go back to stronger emphasis on the generic slot, and have sets have a more far-reaching impact outside of what they themselves are doing. Rather than being just fun in a vacuum, actually have a reason for every single player in the community, other than just the hype of the set being a new set. Because even I'm kind of getting over just collecting every set at this point. I mean, I'll probably pick up a few boxes because I love the art style, but I don't know. Especially because I missed heavy hitters, I don't feel like buying a booklet, going for a full set of everything. I feel like at this point I'm just going to collect the cards I am interested in either playing or obviously look fantastic. If this is the model they stick with, though, I do think it should be more than 3 sets a year. If they can capture the sustain that Heavy Hitters has had with every set going forward, then 3 is fine. But if it's like Bright Lights again, where after release, after a month, it just drops off, then that's the worry. But they'll always have the tournament scene to back things up, right? That is definitely their best performing asset, from what it seems, at the moment. Alright, I don't think there's much else. Don't miss any interesting timelines. First Armory deck. Oh, they've got them out, actually. So, start of July, end of August. So it's about a month and a half, we'll say, between Armory decks. Which again feels weird to me. I don't know why they wouldn't at least do 2 of a kind. And if they like follow Living Legend, that's also kind of weird. If they were, you know what? I'll take it back. What I can see them doing is actually reaching out to well-performing players and having them build the deck, and it being, you know, somewhere in between high-end budget. In which case, the amount of work that goes into that, and then also keeping it meta relevant, I can see being a bit better. So maybe that's actually what they're trying to do, is have one entry-level deck for the masses that is just up to date to the meta, even if it will, you know, lose its availability. No, that's the wrong word again. God, I'm spacing on words. Lose its applicability, you know, within a year. Could be interesting. But I think they could definitely do more with the supplemental products. And definitely bridge them so that they do fill the void between sets. Alright, anything else? Oh yeah, I remember it's in Sydney. Which kind of sucks. Do you have... I never look into it. Do you have many different callings across the US? Because I feel like Australia gets treated not how it should be, right? Because Sydney is not as close as your state, right? We actually have to go quite the distance if we want to, you know, go from Brisbane. Because it does... They only pick one state every year. Well, Portland and Chicago are US, right? I mean, from the architect alone, they kind of speak that way to me. I'm pretty sure Tampa Bay is US as well. I assume you have multiple. And then even like the Battle Hardened events. Because it goes around Australia, and there's no way I can follow it. In fact, it's awful, right? Because when I was in Melbourne, it was in Brisbane. Now that I'm in Brisbane, it's in Sydney. Portland is pretty generic. I do find this interesting as well. I wonder if they don't think the collective boxes will do well? Or maybe they want it to be that easier price point. Now they showed the adults. But every year it gets bigger and bigger, so that's wonderful to see. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. Nothing else comes to mind. We've discussed everything we want to discuss. Yeah. Alright. Anyone hanging around? Thanks. Always nice chatting to your fish. Andrew, if you're still there. Rob, whenever you're watching this. Anyone else watching? Thanks as always. See you around. Let me know what you're thinking about the set. And obviously we can't wait till they spoil Chi. I bet you it's not the first thing spoiled either. If I was them, I would spoil all the other Chi spenders if there are any, right? And again, just keep the buzz going on what is Chi, how's it generated, all the theory crafting, and then have it as the last thing. Especially then, because then you can't premeditate or plan around the mechanic. I think that's the best way to do it. Would keep the most hype. Anyway,